Thursday, last day of November. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Also available online, sportstalk1051.com. Google and Alexa home devices. You got your app and the video stream up and rolling this morning on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you're already up and at it early this morning, appreciate you making us part of your start here. What do we got on the good old game plan for us on this Thursday morning? Bucks are back in action tonight, taking on their division foe, the Chicago Bulls. Tip time for that game, 6:30. Bucks looking for their fourth straight win. Sitting at 13-5 on the season, tied up there with Orlando. Bucks currently in the third seed in the Eastern Conference, but same record as Orlando, who's in second place, just a game back from the Boston Celtics for first place. So we got that in action tonight. Badger volleyball begins their run for hopefully another national championship. They begin play tonight at 7:30 against Jackson State. Badgers will face the winner between Miami and Northern Iowa. Badgers faced Miami earlier in the season and beat them 3-0. So we got some NCAA tournament action coming at you tonight. Badgers easily one of the favorites to win this. I know they were going on a little bit of a couple match losing streak there, but a nice bounce back, taking down Nebraska and such. So hopefully they can kind of use that momentum for a deep playoff run or a deep tournament run, and come away with another national championship. Good chance that maybe they will face Nebraska in the national championship. That'll be the only time those two programs can go at each other, is if they face in the national championship. So we'll hit that up a little bit here. Brewers wise, Devin Williams named National League Reliever of the Year. The Brewers, here's a little fun nugget. 5 of the last 6 years, the Brewers have had the National League Reliever of the Year. It's been Devin and Josh Hader, of course. So adding a little bit more hardware there for Devin Williams, a player who has kind of been talked about as a possible player that maybe the Brewers would move on, trade this season this offseason, if they were going to kind of start that youth movement and a little bit of a rebuild and such. But he's under control for a couple more years here up until 2025. But the more control that he has, probably the more bigger price tag you can essentially get for him if they were looking to move on from him and such. But updates on the whole Jackson Cheerio news. Kurt Hogg from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel kind of has some numbers that he's hearing. So we were kind of wondering, okay, what would that record extension be for Jackson Cheerio? It was what the numbers he threw out there was 8 years, $80 million. 8 years, $80 million for Jackson Cheerio. Incentives would be in there too. Options would be in there too. But, 8 years, $80 million. What are your thoughts on that, to give Jackson Cheerio that contract before we've seen him at the major league level? We've seen him a little bit, at AAA. Not a ton, right? Not a ton. It's a risk with a potential high reward. Say you get into year 6, year 7 in that, 5 even, or whatever. Probably has a good chance if he plays up to the level that I think a lot of us are hoping or expecting. Probably still getting by on the cheap. So, on the flip side, Jackson looks at this as, he's like, it's security right away. That's a good chunk of change right away. But also, do you want to bet on yourself and maybe potentially there's positives and negatives to both sides of this thing. But yeah, that would definitely set a record for a player, we haven't seen at the major league level yet. 8 years, $80 million. But Brewers seems like they're pushing their chips in for this guy and betting on that he's going to be a player. So what do you think about that? Average about $10 million per year. $10 million per year? Well, we'll hit that up. Talk about it a little bit later on. Speaking of contracts and extensions and all that, I kind of want to get your feedback, your thoughts on this. Jordan Love. Okay, we know before the season started that yet instead of the Packers picking up his fifth-year option, they did that 2-year deal, right, to kind of meet in the middle there a little bit. So he is under contract for next year. However, do you think, from what you've seen now, that he deserves an extension? If you go back to 2008, Aaron Rodgers' first year as a starter, he got his contract extension on Halloween, around Halloween. It was a 6-year. Now, this is 2008, so the numbers are going to be smaller. Figures are going to be smaller. Salary cap was smaller. Okay, 6 years, $63.52 million. Okay, but at that time, pretty decent. But they gave that extension to Rodgers, a month into, almost 2 months into the regular season of his first year starting. Do you think Jordan Love has earned an extension right now? Do you think the Packers should try to get an extension done with him at this point? Maybe, hopefully, kind of like a little Jackson Cheerio thing here where maybe they can get it just a little bit cheaper. Just a little bit cheaper. Now, I know there's going to be some fans out there say he's not worth whatever, was it 40 million, 45 million, the going rate for per year on a quarterback. But that's what the market is. That's what these players can get. That's the thing. And we can argue about whether they're worth it or not, but that's the market. Well, I mean, look at Daniel Jones and what contract he got last year. I think a lot of us would probably agree did maybe a questionable decision by the Giants instead of maybe just doing the franchise tag there. But do you think Jordan Love has earned a contract extension? Do you think the Packers, maybe put it from this side of things, be in Goody's shoes or the Packers, be the Packers general manager right now? Would you try to extend Jordan? Now, there might be some things going on where, with his extension, Green Bay may not be able to extend him and, at a certain time in that. I get that. I understand that. But for conversation's worth, for having a little bit of a, back and forth here, if they can, would you try to do one now? Maybe try to save a few million dollars because, as we know, quarterback contracts tend to go up every single year, right? They tend to go up every single year. So would you rather have the team try to get this done, before the end of the season? Or do you go into next year where Jordan Love is, on that final year, try to prove it, and if he goes out there and capitalizes, well then you got to pay a little bit more. Maybe you got to pay a little bit more for him. So, what do you think? What do you think? Next year, his cap hit is a mediocre $7.6 million. That's it. 7.6. He signed that 1-year maximum $22.5 million extension, which was more than the fifth-year option, which was about 20.72. So, what do you think? What would you do if you were the general manager for the Green Bay Packers? You want to do some quarterback comparisons with like total cash or cap hits. I mean, so like cap hits here for like this year. Patrick Mahomes has the biggest one. Ryan Tannehill is second. Jared Goff is third. Okay. That's where they. If we look at next year for cap hits, Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford. Total cash, a little bit different. Burrow's number one, Justin Herbert, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, then Jalen Hurts. It's all over the place, right? Again, what I think kind of gets misconstrued a little bit is the contracts that these quarterbacks get, or even a lot of these players, doesn't necessarily mean or signify they are the best. You know, it would seem like it should, but it's all based off when these players are up for a new contract, when they're going to be a free agent, and what the market dictates. Whether we like it or not, that's what the market dictates. That's what these players can get. It's what they can go out there and get. So if it's going to cost $35, $40 million for Jordan Love per year, where maybe another year, if you wait, could get up to $50 million. Can you believe that? But hey, salary caps are going up every single year now. It's not totally out of the realm. What would you do? What would you do? So think about that for a little bit. Hit me up with your thoughts. Would you sign Love to an extension right now? Kind of like what Green Bay did with Aaron Rodgers back in 2008 after about a month, almost 2 months of worth of games, regular season. They signed him to that 5-year extension, committed to him. Would you do the same for Love right now from what you've seen or looking ahead, knowing that you might save a little bit of money? Also a little bit of risk involved. So kind of similar to maybe Jackson Cheerio. We're going to do a little receive or defer coming up at about 7:45 here this morning. No outdoor tidbits with Jake. Jake's unavailable today, so save your questions, or you can still text them on over, and then we'll get them to Jake for hopefully next week or for the next time he's on. But we'll catch up with Jake a little bit later on, but no outdoor tidbits for today. So let's get things going, though, this morning. Let's get the leadoff going here. We'll throw a little Brewers chat in here with the Jackson Cheerio updates with that contract. Your thoughts on a potential 8-year, $80 million deal for Jackson Cheerio out there? Should the green and gold extend Jordan Love now and maybe save a little bit more money potentially down the road? What do you think? Hit us up on those with those texts on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. We'll take that first break, and then we'll get things going here this morning. The leadoff coming up after these quick words. Prepare for the holidays with your local holiday headquarters, Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. Whether you're looking to prepare for a big holiday feast or looking to grab some party platters, Hy-Vee in Eau Claire has everything you need to make your holiday get-togethers extra special this year. And don't forget, Hy-Vee is your headquarters for all of your catering needs for those Christmas work parties, too. From a wide selection in their meat department, bakery goods as far as the eye can see, and a massive wine and spirits department, Hy-Vee has something for everyone. Plus, you can even get some Christmas shopping done with their new toy aisles and their new sports shop. Get ready for the holidays with the help from Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. And don't forget, too, that tonight is Thursday night. So if you're looking for maybe some dinner options, maybe you want to grab something before the Badger volleyball tournament game tonight, it is a steak night over there at Hy-Vee tonight, too. So take advantage of don't take advantage of that awesome deal over there. Don't have to worry about making your own dinner tonight. So, or tuning into the Bucks game while watching the Badger volleyball tournament game tonight as I take on Jackson State. So, all right, a lot of you already chiming in on the texting line here. A couple questions regarding the Jackson Cheerio contract updates. Eric, to answer your question, would there be any incentives involved? Well, we don't know the whole details yet on a potential contract there, but as we mentioned in the beginning, Kurt Hogg, who covers the Brewers for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, said he's hearing an 8-year deal worth $80 million for Jackson Cheerio. We don't know, as he mentioned, there could be a lot of options and some incentives in there, but we don't know exactly what those numbers are. Dave saying, love the outside the box thinking that the Brewers are doing here. It is a risk, but potential high reward situation. They need to try something different if they're not going to be big time spenders year in and year out. So you can keep your thoughts coming on that potential contract. We haven't heard anything new, whether it's been signed or close, but it sounds like it's getting close as both sides are still talking and have been talking. It sounds like ever since the conclusion of the minor league season, but with winter meetings coming up here, those infamous winter meetings for baseball next week, potentially something would get done at that point in time.
I think it'd be more of a risk for Cheerio than the Brewers.
Yeah,
because 8 years, $80 million. Yeah, it's $10 million a year. But if he has 3 or 4 good years, and he could be a free agent and sign for 15 or 20 million. I mean, he's got security with $80 million. I mean, I don't feel sorry for either side here, but I think this would be a good move for the Brewers. I think, but for Cheerio, he might be taking more of a risk by losing money.
That's what those options, as Kurt Hogg mentioned, and there could be player options where he could opt out of a contract, potentially there too. Which I'm sure if you're signing an 8-year deal, I'm sure his team would like some opt-out options.
I would think so
at that point in time too. So, but it's an interesting outside the box thinking here, and I'm curious to see if it gets done. But it's a risk, but a potential high reward for the Brewers too.
Yeah, no question about that, and they need to hit some home runs and contracts because it's an iffy season going forward, to say the least. Woodruff isn't going to be there at all. How long will Burns be there before potentially they trade him? Because I don't think they're going to pay him, and it seems like a few years ago these starting pitcher contracts weren't so outrageous, but now it seems like they're getting back to the starting pitchers getting some of these big contracts. First, because there's so many relievers, and the relievers become such a prominent part of baseball. Hader is going to be interesting to see where he goes. Is he going to go to the Cubs with Counsell? Is he going to go to the Giants, I've heard, and what he's going to get? So it's going to be interesting to where the market is for both relievers and starting pitchers. And as far as Burns, so there's always top pitchers are always going to get some money like Burns, but it'll be interesting to see where the money comes from and from which teams and to who.
Yep. Well, I think it makes a big difference too when you've got like one super agent in baseball that Mark Scott Boras, who, I mean, when an agent has his own press conference at meetings, with baseball meetings and all that kind of tells you he sets the tone for a lot of this stuff out there.
Really does.
Super agent out there too. So, I mean, and then the fact that you can name a baseball agent, that's the only one you could probably think of, tells you a whole lot too.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But yeah, we'll keep you posted if anything hops up there. But as you mentioned, relievers, Devin Williams named National League Reliever of the Year 5 of the last 6 years. The National League Reliever of the Year has come from the Brewers. Last 5 of the last 6 years.
Well,
Obviously, with
they've been
Hader
good.
and Devin Williams,
Yep,
you
they've been
throw them
good.
in there too. So, but something's in the water in Milwaukee where they can have relief pitchers, closers.
What's Devin Williams' contract situation?
He's through 2025, but he has been a name mentioned as a possible trade candidate as well. If the Brewers want to, quote unquote, start that whole rebuild process out there. But
Well, he's a young man, isn't he? He's only what? Is he 26, 27?
No, he's 29.
Oh, he is 29.
Yep, he's
Okay.
29. So
All
yeah,
right.
he's
Well, he's still young.
got arbitration for the next couple of years right now too. So, but again, the younger he is and the more control he has, the higher the price tag. So that's why he's being thrown out there as a potential trade candidate for some teams out there. So
yeah, those baseball general managers and all the general managers in these big sports, these contracts, these agents are getting so creative of player options and just so many things involved in these contracts that, boy, I'll tell you, you better not go it alone. You better have some help that you can turn around and say, what does all that mean?
a lot of deferred money.
Yep.
So if you want to be the next Bobby Bonilla, or you get paid every July $1 million or whatever it is.
That's
so
a scam, I'll tell you, but good for him.
Yep.
But they wanted to, at the time, they wanted to spread money out. So, boy, they spread it out, didn't they?
Well, I think last year I saw this. Was it last year or a couple years ago? Ken Griffey Jr. was still one of the highest paid players on the Reds payroll.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, you don't have to play and you're still getting paid. That's a good gig.
That is
a really you can afford to do that though when you get a huge contract like some of those guys. So, but
and you figure when
I think Bronny's got some deferred money from the Brewers too. So,
but when Griffey signed his contract, he's been out of baseball for how long?
Yeah,
and he signed that contract way back then compared to what would he get now? I mean, if he was going to go out there, I mean, to my mind, he's twice the player Bryce Harper is. Mm-hmm. I really, because of the way he could play the outfield, the way he can hit, the way he can run. Bryce Harper got about $300 million, didn't he, from the Phillies for a long-term contract?
Mm-hmm.
I would think Ken Griffey Jr. could have got $400 million.
Yeah, would he have been like the Ohtani?
Yeah.
This was Ken Griffey Jr. among the highest paid Red players in 2023.
Good for him.
He signed that 9-year, $112.5 million deal with the Reds, and he would get deferred payment from 2009 to 2024. He will earn more than $3.5 million this year, making him the 4th highest paid player in the payroll.
How much was that contract when he signed it?
9 years, $112.5 million.
You signed that in the time in the last 3-4 years have been 3 times that much for him.
Yeah, the highest paid players for the Reds, especially were Joey Votto. Moustakas still was getting $22 million.
Wow.
Will Myers $6 million, and then Griffey. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy for these professional athletes what money they're making. It just shows you how much money these teams are making because they wouldn't pay it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have the money, and they're still talking about all the profits they make. And I don't care whether you're Pittsburgh or the New York Yankees, they're making money.
Yep. I think what's Ryan Braun's deferred money? I think he's still getting. Yeah. So the Brewers are going to pay him $1.8 million in deferred payments each July 1st through 2031. So there you go. Bronny's going to get
2031.
Yep. Bronny's getting $1.8 million, almost $2 million for the next 8 years.
Does he help at all? Does he come to spring training as a hitting coach, or he doesn't do any of that?
Nope.
Wow. That's a good gig.
Right. I'm sure Yelich has some deferred money too, probably.
I'm sure he will.
I gotta look these up because now I'm just jealous. Milwaukee. Yelich will get paid by Milwaukee through 2042.
Wow.
According to the Associated Press.
I wonder how much money, deferred money, G-Man's getting from the garbage company.
Under the deal, the Brewers will defer $4 million each year from his $26 million annual salary from 2022 to 2028. So he gets paid until 2042. Yelich will get $28 million in 11 installments of $2.3 million each July 1st from 2031 to 2041, and the final payment of $2.3 million on July 1st, 2042. July 1st is a good day for a lot of baseball players, apparently.
Evidently, I don't know what the magic is about July 1st, but whatever it is, good for them. They're scamming it. Well, they're not scamming the system because the system is there, but that's the way it is. It's, you know, thing is, once one team pays an outlandish salary, the horse is out of the barn, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's kind of the other question we threw out there too, is about G-Man says lots of money. Yes, sir, Bob.
That's why he can afford so many jerseys.
That's why we were throwing out the question, and I'm surprised with the majority of, if not all, except for a couple, about Jordan Love extension. You know, would it be close to giving him an extension? To compare it, Aaron Rodgers got his first extension on a Halloween of his first year starting. So he was just about a month and a half in, and he got that 5-year contract. Now the talk out there is Jordan Love, should he get a contract extension right now? He's put up, if you want to compare it, same numbers, better in some areas, to Aaron Rodgers in his first year, both 5 and 6, both same amount of passing yards. Jordan Love actually has a better touchdown to interception ratio than Aaron did.
And that's hard to believe because Aaron Rodgers, you know, his reputation, he eats the ball. He doesn't want to throw in. He doesn't take a chance on throwing interceptions. So that's something to be said.
Yeah. So a lot of you saying, yes, give him an extension right now, except for a couple saying, nope, don't do it yet. But I'm surprised. It's like 95% of you saying no. And that's the thing where, too, it's like, because a lot of talk is like, well, is he worth 40, 45 million? But like you said, it's what the market is. Yeah, whatever who's willing, whatever you could get. That's what, like, contracts don't necessarily tell you who the best player is.
Oh, not even close.
Not even close. I think a lot of people just assume that the best player gets the highest paid. No, it's whatever year, whatever the going rate is every year, a quarterback probably sets the new level. You know, it's like, it's the joke. It's like, you know, Patrick Mahomes is probably the highest paid player for maybe 6 months.
Yep, exactly.
And then Joe Burrow, then Justin Herbert, or whatever, you know, that order went. So it probably will be 40, 45 million a year for Jordan Love if he does sign an extension.
You know, and we've been hard on Jordan Love this year, including myself, and I still think that he's got some, obviously, things to prove. He's really improved the last few weeks. I mean, this Sunday night is going to be a big challenge for him against Kansas City. I mean, this is where he's got to perform. He did a wonderful job against Detroit. Oh, speaking of that, I can hardly wait to get here. Did you think of me during the coin toss?
I did mention that on Monday.
I'll tell you what, I was jumping up and down, especially when they went down and scored a touchdown. There, receiver defer. Thank you, Matt LaFleur.
I did. Yeah, I did.
I thought that was great. I thought, what? I'm not hearing this right.
Yeah.
And they took the ball and went down and scored. And I think, you know, the comparable point to me is I think they put Detroit off balance. It reminded me of the Tampa Bay playoff game when they won the toss and deferred. Tom Brady went right down the field. The Packers were behind the 8 ball that whole game. They never recovered. Detroit, I think the same way. I mean, just the equation for me between Tampa Bay and Green Bay game and the Lions and the Packers on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, I was over the moon. I can hardly wait to get here.
I thought it was an awesome call just from a standpoint, too. I mean, I'm sure if they didn't score, people would be like, what's that? But I thought it was like a good – I thought for LaFleur to tell his young team, let's go out there and let's do this and let's put up a number right away.
Yeah, I don't
just
know
give him that little bit of a boost.
But
I love the –
I don't know why he did it, but I'm glad he did.
I loved, because you could tell he was just intense throughout that whole game. I mean, he got into it with a security guard running off the field.
That was nuts. What's that security guard trying to stop him?
I have no idea.
Oh,
but boy. I love the the mentality he had going into that game. It was almost like, screw it, let's go for it, and that sort of stuff, and it worked. They were aggressive.
I hope he does it the rest of the year.
Yeah,
if they make the playoffs, it's a tremendous bonus. If they don't, but they're aggressive in this team. I mean, Rashad Gary just shot like a cannon in that game. The rest of the defense, I mean, I don't know what he fed them before that game.
Well, they did get a turkey leg afterwards, so maybe they'll have some more aggressiveness coming into Kansas City.
But it was like a different team. I mean, even some of the defensive linemen were so active, and I was watching Van Ness play a little bit, and I still am aggravated that why they drafted him as a pass rusher, and in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12, they put him on the sidelines. That I don't understand, but I was over the moon excited by it. I thought, oh golly, make a touchdown, and they did.
Yep, they did.
We'll see what he does the rest of the season, but he did it once, and it worked.
Yep. But Jordan Love, what you were?
But Jordan Love, I think he's going to get a contract extension. I mean, you look at the numbers and you compare him against Rodgers. What he will do in the future, I don't know. I'm still, not, for some reason I was confident back then. I remember it that I said, well, Rodgers is going to be a great quarterback. And this guy, Jordan Love, in the last couple of games, he's shown a little more ability to see the field, and he's thrown the ball some awkward angles. He's still, that first pass he threw to Christian Watson, that was all Watson, because he, that was just like a punt, and who can go highest to get it, and he did on that first play.
And that's what Watson has to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's his job. You bet. But I think Love has to be a little more helpful to these guys with a long ball, where Rodgers was pretty good with a long ball, and
and that took him a little bit too.
Better. Yeah. Yep. But Love is getting better, and he's still his first year. I mean, he's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback yet, but I think he's getting better, and that's all we can ask, is that he's getting better. Like I said, I was hard on him first part of the year because he was horrible, but he's gotten better. He's shown improvement, and that's all you can ask.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to root for him. I'll be at the game Sunday night, and I'm gonna root for him. I hope he does a good job. I just hope that whatever LaFleur is doing to get and even Joe Barry, he got a reprieve too with that game, and so hopefully they can continue to do this. They don't start reading headlines, because they got a big hill to climb yet with the rest of their schedule.
Well, it kind of opens up a little bit, though. You got the Giants, you got Tampa, you got Carolina, who's a mess. There's they're a half game out of that final playoff spot right now.
Yeah, because I don't know, all of a sudden the Vikings aren't so sure of their new quarterback again, but Jefferson's coming back,
right?
And the Bears, who knows what the Bears are all about? Listening to Chicago radio over the weekend, and they think the Bears are going to draft a quarterback, so they're not sold on Justin Fields. So I don't know what's going on. And is Detroit, are they starting to self-destruct a little bit, or ask? I mean, let's face it, Campbell, the coach, boy, he had egg on his face. What in the world he was doing, that fake punt? There was absolutely no reason for that at that point in the game. And of course, every team now, you're geared up for that with him, because that's something that you just keep an eye on. And the Packers handled it perfectly.
Yeah. So they did a really good job preparing for that. So I know Greg Olson was talking quite a bit about that on the telecast. Like, a lot of times you're supposed to have an audible in that situation, or a checkout, and that based off the look that you get. And he didn't quite understand why the Lions didn't check out of that based off the look that they got. So. Yeah,
because they ran right into the teeth of the Packer rush. So, but is Campbell going to make more egghead plays? You don't play the Bears every week like they did the week before and win in the last 4 minutes, coming back from about 17 points down. But so it's still could be an interesting division. I mean, they're 8-3, the Lions, so they're still in good shape. But the Bear game was not good. They lucked out. The Packer game was not good. They didn't come back. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know what their schedule looked like the rest of the year.
They got the Saints this weekend, and they play the Vikings twice, and then that's the Bengals, the Vikings play. So.
And I don't know if Dobbs they're starting to say now in Minnesota that they're another quarterback. They're sharing reps with the first team. So what does that say about Dobbs's confidence going forward too? So still a division that's not won yet.
No, but who would have thought in middle of October we'd be talking about a potential playoff spot here?
But you look back at that Atlanta game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Well, it was Atlanta, the Raiders,
yep,
Denver.
The Raiders game. Yeah, Denver. I mean, this, wow.
And then really when you look at it, though, too, and I'm not a moral victory person by any means, but when you look at all these games, that first meeting with Detroit was really the only one that was just like over with right away.
Yep, that's right.
It was, they had a chance at Denver. They had a chance against the Raiders. Minnesota, they had 2 chances in the red zone, with defense gave them the ball back and turnovers. Pittsburgh even too. They just couldn't close them out.
That's one of the biggest complaints I have against LaFleur in the red zone. The 2-point conversion. Why he tried that 2-point conversion? What was the sense of that?
The player just going for 2
just
points.
Going for 2. I know it puts you up 9, but still, get the sure point. You can't lose the game that way. And Campbell, he'd have won for 2 if he'd scored a touchdown if they got to that point. And I don't understand why he went for 2 and the play they ran.
The
sweep bringing Dobbs around.
The Philly special.
Yeah, but
the Philly special.
But they don't run it very well. They just have no creative plays down there. They get down that way and they got an offensive line that doesn't drive block. They get pushed around, and I don't know. It's there's still a lot of questions about this Packer team, but I'm happy with the last couple of weeks, and hopefully they can give Kansas City a game and maybe even pull the upset. Who knows?
Hey, they're 3 wins away from matching Aaron Rodgers' team last year.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I think they can do that.
Think Rodgers is going to play this year?
If he does, it's stupid.
I think he's nuts.
I think that whole situation is just dumb.
Yep.
It's just ridiculous.
I don't know why they're letting him do that.
I don't get it either. I was because he did return to practice yesterday. If anybody doesn't know, the 21-day window opened up. I saw one of the reporters saying it's too, by him coming out there gives a spark to the locker room. I'm like, Jesus. I get it, but still, I mean, you need a guy to come back to spark your locker room, and I know I don't know if it was Peter King or somebody said just by him coming back, like Aaron feels bad because essentially they catered everything to him, and then Zach Wilson stinks, Nathaniel Hackett stinks, Alan Lazard is a healthy and active now. They did all this stuff.
He stinks, in other words.
Yeah, so it's like they did all this, and now he feels bad. Well, Aaron, maybe you should let the general managers do their jobs.
Is Randall Cobb still on that team?
Inactive,
Yeah. So, they did that. But I'll tell you, all they've got to do is let him get involved in some kind of a drill and tweak that Achilles. And he might never play for the Jets if they don't watch him.
I know. I don't understand. I don't understand.
The season is over.
I don't, the mindset of why the hell would you even think about putting him out there when your offensive line stinks?
That's what caused the injury in the first place, that first game.
He's a guy who holds on to the ball to the last possible second. He's going to be 40, great. If he's recovering as fast as faster than awesome, that's great. But is it still worth the risk? Why would you do it? If it's a 2-year commitment, now I was reading too, it's like, well, these practice reps are going to help for next year and all that. Give me a break.
Yeah, well, the practice reps better be just on the side, taking snaps and throwing the ball to wide receivers, not any kind of a quality type of practice where there's any kind of course, you won't have any contact anyway. But still in all, if he makes the wrong move, he's done.
Yeah, I
don't understand the logic of that either.
But I don't either, because I mean the Jets, their schedule when you look at this, let me bring it up here. Okay, they got Atlanta this weekend. Who knows? Texans are playing well. Then they got the Dolphins again. Commanders, who the heck knows? That's supposed to be the target date potentially when Aaron comes back, which is December 24th. But if they're out of it by then, I don't know. And then the Browns defense.
Browns got a good defense.
Yeah.
Miles Garrett isn't going to hold up on
No,
him.
Jim Schwartz
They're
got
coming.
burned a lot by Aaron when he was with Detroit.
Yep.
He ain't going to hold up against him.
They're coming to get him.
Zadarius Smith is over there. Sure, he's going to want to. You hate to say it, but it's true. People are going to target that area. They might go a little low. Let's face it. It's going to happen. So
yeah, it doesn't make much sense. That is for sure. But the Jets being the Jets, who knows what their philosophy is going to be with Aaron Rodgers. But if they let him play at all this year in a regular game, they're crazy.
I completely
It'd
agree.
be interesting. I don't know if you talk to Dr. Crow about this, but is he really healing? And they said he's out in California taking some kind of healing procedure from somebody. But
yeah, he's listening to Dolphins, mate.
But how strong is this Achilles? I don't care what kind of it's still a part of the body. It'd be interesting to hear Dr. Crow say how realistically.
I know he's kind of had some doubts.
Oh, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does.
I don't know. No, I can't wait to see if they do have a top 5 pick. Do they draft a quarterback?
The Jets?
Yeah. And how pissed Aaron will be for them too.
Well, he's gone through it before.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a break, and we'll finish up the second hour after these quick words. What's on the menu for Christmas dinner this year? Is it a juicy ribeye steak, maybe some pork chops, ribs, or chicken? Whatever it may be, or maybe you're still looking for some ideas, then you should make a visit to Mike's Star Market on the west side of Eau Claire. Since 1990, Mike's Star Market has been offering the best beef, lean pork, sausages, and brats, condiments, and custom spice mixes, all handmade right in their store for the freshest flavor. And what's the holidays without some sweets? Mike's also has chocolates and now a wide variety of freeze-dried candy. So visit Mike's Star Market today at 2238 Heimstead Road in Eau Claire. That's on the west side of Eau Claire. Just drove by. Well, I drive by every day, but saw the other day somebody was dropping off a deer over there too, it looked like, in the back to get it processed and such. So
Did you read the summary of the deer hunt?
I did.
The thing that surprised me that the kill was down, but the thing that surprised me the most, and I don't know, this happens every year, but I'd never seen this before. Hunters from all 50 states and 27 countries bought licenses to hunt deer during the gun season in Wisconsin. I was shocked.
No. Yeah, I think the country one really surprised me on there.
Yeah, 27 countries.
Yeah.
Wow,
it sounds like a lot of them didn't get a deer though too. So, so I wasn't the only one. Well, I got a doe in that, but numbers were really down this year for a lot.
Yeah, they really were. Up in the north, I don't know if there are that many deer way up. Well, what it tells me up in the North Country is that the wolves aren't hungry. The wolves are taking a lot of deer up there. There are a lot of deer in this country, in this state. There are a lot of wolves in this state that I don't think are given enough credit for taking down a lot of deer.
I think a lot of people would agree with you on that. Yep, definitely. So we only got a few minutes left, but did I see you were at a Badger volleyball game?
I was. Last Saturday night I went down. I was down there. My son's birthday was last weekend, and I was at the Packer game the week before and saw him play. And who they beat? Was it
Iowa?
No, the Badger game.
Oh, for volleyball?
For the Packer game. I was at the Packer, and then I went to Madison.
Oh, Chargers?
Yeah, the Chargers. Thank you. The Charger game. I was at the Charger game. And then we were in Madison, and the young lady that's the announcer for women's volleyball worked for Midwest Family Broadcasting in Madison, Bonnie Olson. And she's been doing women's volleyball for a long time. She's been the announcer. She's even on, Women Day when they recognize women. She's done Brewer games. She's announced Brewer games. And so
hasn't she done something with the Bucks too?
Yeah, she's done Bucks games as well. So I said, hey, Bonnie, how hard is it to get tickets for the volleyball game Saturday night? I'll get you some. So we got some tickets. We went Saturday night, and boy, was that fun. That is really what an environment. And I mean, they've got banners. It almost looks like North Carolina's gym. They got so many volleyball banners. They're league champions, national champions, this, that, and the All-Americans. It's quite a tradition they're building down there. And their coaches, he's bald-headed and he's very calm, cool, and collected. And he stands there and watches the games, and he'll maybe give a little direction, but when they call timeout, he never coaches. He does, his assistant coaches coach the team when they call a timeout. And it's quite a tradition they're building there. But that field house has really come to life once again. That is really a neat place to watch volleyball.
Yeah, I was watching the Nebraska one, and Kelly Sheffield, he's pretty calm and collected. And I loved how the announcer said right before, he's like, if Wisconsin wins this, the crowd will let you know. It was like a set point or something like that. And Wisconsin got it, and they didn't even talk. They just let the crowd. You could tell it from the telecast.
I was watching that too, and I didn't. Because when they went to Nebraska, they lost 3-2. Nebraska comes here, lost 3-0, and but should be a great tournament.
Yeah, the first and second rounds are all at the field house. Badgers tonight, 7:30, taking on Jackson State. If they win, they will take on the winner between Northern Iowa versus Miami. If it's Miami, Badgers did beat them earlier in the season. 1 hour in, we got a couple more. We'll be back after these news updates.
He's our man. The man, the myth, the legend. That's Dan. And now, the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, here we go. Second hour kicking off on this Thursday morning, the final day of November. Coming up this hour, we'll get to some receive or defers at the back end of the hour. We'll get back to some more baseball talk, some football talk as well. I want to get to some Bucks chat coming up here in just a few minutes. The Bucks are back in action tonight as they take on the Chicago Bulls. Bucks looking for their fourth straight win, 14th overall so far this season. Before we get to that, though, let's do some quick sports nuggets of the day. I got the ad that popped up. There we go. So 1991 in the first Women's World Cup in soccer, U.S. team defeated Norway 2-1. 1993, the NFL awarded the league's 30th franchise to the Jacksonville Jaguars. 1996, Michael Jordan scored his 25,000th NBA career point. He was the only 10th player to reach that mark at that time. Those are just a couple sports nuggets for you on this Thursday morning. Speaking of a little bit of hoops, Bucks back in action tonight after clinching the 1 seed in the in-season tournament that will begin next week when they welcome the New York Knicks to Milwaukee on Tuesday night. And if they win that, they will be heading to Vegas for a couple games, potentially playing either the Pacers or the Celtics, whoever wins that game there. But Bucks looking to improve to 14-5 on the season, just a game back from the Celtics for first. They're technically in third place right now in the Eastern Conference standings. They have the same record as the 2-seeded. Maybe one of the biggest surprises this year, my former team, the Orlando Magic, sitting in that 2 spot right now. So both at 13-5 on the season. So
you get the feeling that the Bucks just don't quite have it. They're winning games, but they just don't seem to have it together yet.
I don't think the chemistry is quite there yet.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
I don't know if anybody else saw this too, but it was after the game. Adrian Griffin was talking about it. So I thought, going back, not to revisit it from a couple days ago too much, but that Heat game, I thought that was a heck of a night for Chris Middleton. He made a couple big shots at the end and 17 points in 23 minutes. But Adrian Griffin said after the game that when it was, before that, they were drawing up some plays, and he was drawing up plays for Dame, and it was a close game. I think they might have even been down a little bit there. And Giannis spoke up and said, "No, we got to get it to Chris." And then Chris delivered and hit those big threes in the corner there. So, and Adrian Griffin said those two are just like twins. They know each other. They feed, talking about Giannis and Middleton and such. So I hope that's, that's kind of been one of the things I wanted to see yet. I know he's still on a minutes restriction, but not too much of an offensive output. Hopefully a game like that, maybe we could kind of start to see him be more of that third scoring option, because they didn't get a lot of production off their bench that night.
No,
it wasn't a whole lot, but
I just hope something like that doesn't drive a wedge between those two and Damian Lillard.
I don't think so.
I hope not.
No. But I thought it was maybe, just kind of Giannis sticking up for his guy too. So, but I like that. And then Middleton responds. That's the big thing. You can say
that's
it.
That's what you got to have.
Yeah.
He's got to respond, because let's face it, in the playoffs the last few years, he hasn't been there for the kind of contract he's got. And so whether it's health, that knee is that bad or whatever it is, but if they can nurse him home, and he did play well the other night against Miami, no question about it, but you can't do it just once in a while at that kind of a contract.
Yeah. So they'll be going up against the Bulls, who right now might be going through. They might be selling off some players. Zach LaVine's being talked about possibly being traded, and such. They've only got 5 wins so far this season.
And I'm surprised. I thought the Bulls would be better this year. I'm just really surprised at the way they have not shown up.
Yeah, they're 5-14 overall this year. At least they're not the Pistons, who have lost 15 in a row right now.
That franchise has really gone in the tank.
They
really
hired Monty Williams, who has the biggest contract as a coach.
Really?
and they've lost 15 in a row right now.
Why
2
would
and
you give
16.
Monty Williams the biggest contract? I mean, a guy like that's looking for a job. I don't know who his agent is, but congratulations to his agent for getting that kind of a contract. And it shows you one of the reasons the Pistons are who they are
Yeah.
with a decision making like that.
You want to wager a guess of what he has, what he's making? Want to just kind of throw it out there?
I don't know. Is he making
I'll give you the years, and you tell me how much. 6-year contract.
35 million?
78 and a half.
Oh, goodness. Glory be to
78
Peter.
and a half.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Why would you? How many years?
6 years, 78 and a half million dollars.
When you sign that, you know there's no way he's going to be coaching there for 6 years. So now it's here we go with the deferred payments again. He's probably going to get paid till, 2045, these deferred payments. I mean, why would you sign a coach like that doesn't have a track record of success for that kind of money for that long a contract with the personnel you have?
I think Jimbo Fisher is probably like saying nice work on that contract.
Yeah. Well,
see what he's getting paid for not coaching?
And who
70 million
I
bucks.
know it. And who's going to be the first round pick or the first pick in the draft this year in college basketball? You don't have Webanoski or whatever his name is.
Wembanyama.
Yeah, Wembanyama down in Seattle. You don't have a prohibitive first pick like that, do you? I haven't seen him anywhere, unless there is somebody overseas that we haven't heard much about.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no Michael Jordan or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar sitting out there waiting to turn the Pistons around that I've seen.
I don't know, but 15 losses in a row right now, so it's yikes for Detroit. I know they're high on like Cade Cunningham. They're young guys over there too, but
yeah, he was the first pick in the draft a few years ago, and you got to figure that's not the top of the top type of player. He's a good player, but he's not a difference maker like you want the first pick in the draft to be eventually, and maybe not right away, but maybe, Jordan was not Jordan until he got into his second, third, fourth year.
Right. Yeah.
So, but I don't know. But decision making like that is one of the reasons the Pistons are the Pistons.
That's a big chunk of change right there. So 6 years, 78.5 million. Guess he doesn't care. No, I'm just kidding. It's like, it doesn't matter about wins and losses, but you get that big. But no, yeah, it's like, wow, yeah. Speaking of hoops, Badger basketball got a big game coming up on Saturday against Marquette.
Receiver defer. The Badgers will lose by at least 10.
We'll save that till receiver defer.
Well, I know, but you're bringing it up.
11:30. Do you have? I mean, you're a Badger alum. Do you have a rival with Marquette? Do you feel like a little rivalry with Marquette? Is that more of a younger generation sort of thing?
It's more of a younger generation, and it's more of a Marquette thing.
Mm-hmm.
When and that's, I've seen it. I don't know if other people have had this on their phones the last few days, but some online shopping thing has blankets or floor mat or doormats that have the pack. It's in 4 sections. That has the Packers, the Brewers, the Badgers, and the Bucks.
Yeah,
and rightly so. I've seen some comments made by people said, I'd buy one if they included Marquette. And I could see the reasoning for that. Marquette has been, very successful in college basketball. They've got a national championship that the Badgers don't have. And recently the Badgers had one way back in the 40s, I think. But I agree with that they don't get the recognition statewide that obviously the Badgers, the Bucks, the Brewers, and the Packers get. It's a neat place or floor mat, for your door or porch or whatever. But and they brought up a good point. Put Marquette on there, I'd buy one. He said.
Is it something as simple as, because when you think of Marquette, it is just basketball, whereas Wisconsin, it's football, it's basketball, it's hockey, volleyball now too.
Yeah, and and Marquette is not in the same league. It's just not. It's not the same. What Purdue and Indiana wouldn't be as big a rivalry if they weren't both in the Big Ten. If you get Marquette into the Big Ten, then it'll be a completely different rivalry. But now they're playing with teams out east, and it's not, it's one game a year, and it's just back and forth. Next year they'll be in Marquette, and so on and so forth. And I I don't really consider it a rivalry like Minnesota, like playing
Right.
Minnesota.
Right.
But Marquette fans do, and Marquette fans do not like Wisconsin. That's the bottom line. I hope Marquette has a lot of success, but Marquette fans don't wish the same for Badgers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that is, but I don't know if they feel like they've been, stuck in coach class when then the Badgers are in first class, in the competition. But it is what it is. But as a Badger fan, no, I don't feel that that kind of competition that Marquette fans feel when they play Wisconsin. I mean, they're all out, and especially when they play in Milwaukee, look out.
Yeah.
I remember when we used to play in high school. We were in Madison. We played high school. We go to Racine and Kenosha, and it reminded me last year when I saw the game when Wisconsin went to Marquette and beat them, and they were throwing stuff, and we used to play football against the Racine schools in Kenosha, and our coaches said, "The game's over. Get on the bus. Whether you win or lose, get on the bus, because even if they beat you, they throw stuff at you."
Jeez.
and so their rivalry was that much more. Our rivalry was with our city schools, but it is what it is. And see, eye of the beholder, and I think Marquette fans figure this is more of a rivalry than do Badger fans.
Mm-hmm. What would you consider Badger basketball's biggest rival? Is it still Minnesota, you think? Or is it Iowa?
That's a good question. I
almost feel like, for me personally, like I'm not an alum there, but it's like mine's almost like Michigan State or Iowa. I feel like
I think it's probably Iowa.
Yeah.
In basketball,
and a lot of it's because of Fran.
Yeah,
I can't stand Fran.
But he finds some good players.
Yeah.
He puts a representative team on. I think, and I've said this before, that Iowa's really missed the boat here a couple of years ago when they had that little guy that could shoot 3-point. He played about 17 years for Iowa. He COVID year and bad knee year and this, that, and the other thing. Why they didn't have a benefit 3-point shooting contest between he and Caitlin Clark, fill the Hawkeye Carver Arena for $10 or $20 a head and have some kind of long jump shot competition,
or even like a game of horse or something like that.
It would have been a great fundraiser and extend it out, make it something that took some time. But for the children's hospital, what's famous for their football, they all wave at the kids, to raise money for that. But they've got a nice tradition of Hawkeye basketball. They never get to the promised land of the Final Four, but they're competitive every year.
I can't pick them in a tournament because I feel like they're always going to lose right away.
Exactly.
They get the high seed, but it's like they always, I don't want to say always.
They always underperform in the tournament.
Yeah, them and sometimes Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue last year got beat game 1 or something. Yeah, that's. And I don't know Purdue's number 1 in the country, but I don't think they're the number 1 team in the country. I watched part of Kentucky, Tennessee last night, and don't close your eyes on Kentucky.
Or when they beat Miami the other night, Kentucky just dominated Miami.
Well, they beat Tennessee last night.
Was it Tennessee?
And Tennessee was ranked higher than Kentucky last night. And Kentucky.
Well, that was North Carolina and Tennessee.
Oh, it was in North Carolina and Tennessee. Yeah, well, North Carolina and Kentucky. Don't close your eyes on either one of them. And Duke's not bad this year either. That center on Duke, Filipowski, he might be the top pick in the draft this year. He's a good player. So
Arkansas stormed the court last night. They beat Duke.
Yeah,
they stormed it. But yeah, you mentioned Kentucky. So Kentucky was ranked 12th. Miami was ranked 8th.
Yeah, that's right.
Dominated
Kentucky,
them.
Yeah, Kentucky and Miami. That's who they were playing.
And
right.
95-73. It was just.
Yep. And they got some nice players.
Yeah. But
the thing that was nice to watch them is they were so far ahead of Miami. Calipari just sit on the bench, and normally he's jumping up and down and running around the sidelines. But he had nothing to criticize his players because they were playing so well. It was kind of fun to watch.
I was looking at, according to ESPN Analytics here quick, with this matchup between the Badgers and Marquette. They've actually got it really close. 50.9 matchup favors Marquette, according to their analytics over there. So, I mean, it's close there, but I don't know if I was watching the game the other night when Wisconsin beat Western Illinois, and I thought Brian Butch made a really good point. He's like, if they want to beat Marquette and this stretch of games that they got coming up, Michigan State and then Arizona, they gotta be more consistent hitting that three. They got shooting the ball across the place, but hitting those 3-point shots. They got to be consistent at.
No question, they've got to hit those 3-point. I mean, Chucky Hepburn, he's like a jack in the box. He's up and then he's down, and he's got to be more consistent. When he is consistent, playing well, he's very good. But boy, when he hits the skids, he's not very useful.
Let's take a quick break, and then I want to talk a little college football, because while we've got some great games coming up this weekend, but also some players entering the transfer portal, declaring for the transfer portal, including a couple of Badgers yesterday, but quite a few players out there entering that transfer portal. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll talk some college football coming up after these quick words. Got a little bit of snow and more will be coming at some point this year. That means more shoveling and constant reminders of that pain in your knee, your back, and your shoulders. And while Santa can't help you with living a pain-free, healthier life, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine can. This winter season, stop dealing with the pain. Just visit cvosm.com to schedule your appointment, and the team at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine will help you start living that pain-free, healthier, and more enjoyable life. So this holiday season, ask Santa for that vacation or maybe a new toy, and leave the pain healing to the experts at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. So, got some college football chit-chat here. While the transfer portal doesn't officially open until Monday, thanks to social media, players are already announcing when they're going to be transferring or entering the transfer portal. And got a couple of Badgers. One is offensive lineman Dylan Barrett. And then also Wisconsin native quarterback Miles Burkett announced that he will be entering the transfer portal. I was reading a little bit from Colton Bartholomew, Badger football reporter we've had on the show here, Wisconsin State Journal. And Colton said that Miles Burkett told him something interesting about being the number 3 quarterback. Quote, people who really don't understand that third quarterback is the least glorious role of anyone. If you're the number 1 guy, you're taking all the reps. If you're the number 2 guy, you're taking all the 2 reps. If you're the 5th guy, you're the scout team guy. And then if you're the 4th guy, you help the scout team too. That 3rd guy, he's kind of the guy who gets lost trying to get mental reps. So I'm not repping the scout team. I'm not repping in our exchange period. So you end up not really repping at practice at all. So you take your skelly reps and you get your indie work, and then that's pretty much it. So he was a good
blame
story.
him.
Yeah.
Anybody that's competitive wants to play, and he's going to go someplace where he thinks he can play, and I can't blame him.
Yep. I remember watching him in high school, Franklin product, state tournament and such. It was a dream of his to play for Wisconsin and that. But just didn't work out, and I hope he gets a chance to go somewhere and play.
Yeah,
So.
because you look at when Mordecai went out, when Locke came in, you got to be standing there thinking, I'm better than this guy. And you just hope you get a chance, and he never did, and I don't blame him for never getting a chance. I can't blame him a bit for transferring.
Yeah.
And who's the lineman?
The lineman is Dylan Barrett. Dylan Barrett, he has 3 years of eligibility left there. So does Miles Burkett, 3 years of eligibility. So
did he play this lineman? I don't remember him.
No, not a whole lot. So, but yeah, Miles is the big one so far out there. We'll see if there's more. I'm sure there's probably going to be more at this point in time. I know somebody was kind of joking about they should have like signing day. Monday's they should just make Monday National Transfer Portal Day for everybody announcing, when they're going in that. But
I actually thought Braylon Allen I knew he was gone, but I thought he might transfer because he did not have that good a year this year. He ended on a high note, but he did not have that good a year. He was hurt off and on, and the line didn't help him at all this year. And, he ran kind of like he was hurt. He wasn't, the best year he had was his freshman year, and he's 17 years old until the last game or so of this season. But I thought he might transfer someplace where he could build up some numbers because I don't know, what round do you think he's going to go in?
They're already saying, and he'll probably go up there, but probably like the first couple rounds right now.
You think he will? I don't think he's fast enough.
Neither. I mean, he's got the same size as Derrick Henry and all that too. So,
but Derrick Henry's faster than Braylon Allen.
They're all draft experts already saying he's going to be first couple rounds.
Well, good. I hope he does. I hope he makes a lot of money playing football. I mean, he's fun to watch as a Badger. It's just that, he did not have that outstanding a season, but the scouts, they use a big body of work. So.
I think the interesting part for me is the age part, since he's only going to be 20 in January and he plays that running back position. I personally think teams are going to look at that as a extra check mark for him.
Yep. Yeah. A good example is the kid from Minnesota last year who was about 24 or 25. I don't even know if he's in the league. I don't know if he's playing any place. I don't remember his name, but I remember when they said he's I don't know, 24, 25 years old. I thought, holy, and he's good,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't get drafted. So I don't think he got drafted, but, and I don't know if he's in the league, but they're, between being 24, 25 or 20, yeah, there's a whole lot more appeal to that 20-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw this. I was kind of perusing around. What if Paul Chryst gets the job at Indiana? Maybe Miles Burkett goes and follows the coach that recruited him.
Yeah,
to
you never
Indiana.
know.
Yeah.
Is there talk that Paul Chryst is going to go to Indiana?
There's you got the odds.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff out there, and because Paul Chryst was, Northwestern was even looking at him, but they promoted David Brock because you had to for the job that he did
a
over
wonderful
there.
job this year.
Big Ten Coach of the Year too, and rightfully so.
Yep, absolutely.
But you got the odds makers out there, throwing it out there because of the connection, Big Ten and all that. So.
I thought maybe Michigan State would look at Chryst or Jimmy Leonard, but they took the kid from Oregon State. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't know. I never thought about Chryst going to Indiana because he's assistant at some school,
Texas,
at University of Texas.
Yep.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yep. So I'm sure that's kind of helped out the resume a little bit there.
Exactly.
Offensive consultant or whatever role it is he's got over there. But, with what they're doing over there and the quarterbacks and such.
But the thing is recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
He really dropped the ball the last 2 or 3 years on recruiting at Wisconsin. And, that reared its ugly head, last year and this year. He didn't have the talent in there that he should have recruited. So if I'm Indiana, I got to look at that. And that would be one of my first questions. What is your plan for recruiting and continuing to recruit? Because cupboard was pretty bare this year from his recruits.
Yep. Yeah. That's definitely one thing. If he wants to get back into the game as a I got a Brewers breaking news here. But if he wants to get back in the game as a head coach, he's going to have to really embrace the recruiting aspect a little bit more.
Yeah, he is. And I don't know whether he just lost interest in the recruiting or whether or not he didn't understand how to, set up. He didn't have a recruiting coordinator was one of the big problems in Madison. And, now it's more than just recruiting high school kids. Now you got the transfer portal that you've got to deal with, and you got to deal with NIL. So there's more to it than just sitting on a couch in a high school kid's home and trying to get him to come to Madison. There's, you got to understand the whole situation as far as getting kids to your campus, not only the 17-year-olds, but maybe the 20-year-olds that are coming from other schools. It's a different world than it was just 5, 6, 7 years ago before NIL and the transfer portal became so prominent, because it really is changing the landscape. Outside of, schools like Michigan and Ohio State, their recruits are so strong that they don't rely that much on the transfer portal. They get some, and some kids leave because they're not playing and they want to go someplace to play. But school like Wisconsin is very important, and Indiana is going to be the same way.
Yep. All right, you ready for a little Brewers breaking news here? Let's play the sound clip there. So we were talking about Jackson Churio a little bit earlier. John Heyman tweeting just a few minutes ago, breaking top center field prospect Jackson Churio at the age of 19. Talk about Braylon Allen being 19.
Yeah, really.
Jackson Churio and the Brewers are expected to complete today the richest contract ever for a player who has yet to reach the big leagues. The deal is expected to be for 8 guaranteed years and close to $80 million. And here's the kicker, I think, and include 2 team options, not player options. He's saying 2 team options over there. The Brewers deal is close to 80 million. The Brewers deal close to 80 million will beat the current record deal for a minor leaguer by about $30 million. Luis Robert for the White Sox had 50 million. Churio has only played 6 games above Double-A, but the Brewers expect he can be their center fielder. $80 million, guaranteed 8 years, right there.
Wow. So what does that do to Mitchell?
They got a plethora of outfielders, don't they?
Oh, they sure do.
They
young outfielders.
Yep.
I mean, you got Yelich, but then you got some young outfielders and rookies that came up this year, and Mitchell, who's been around a couple of years, still considered a rookie because he's been hurt out so much. But yeah, the outfield situation seems to be pretty solid in Milwaukee.
Yeah, they got to move one of them at least.
I would think so.
And I look at either Weimer or Mitchell as one of those guys. One of them I don't think they would move Sal Frelick. I think Sal Frelick can play both corners and
Yep.
center field over there.
Yep.
But yeah, it's probably one of either Weimer or Mitchell.
I hope they can get a hitting infielder for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there you go. 80, like a lot of people, and I know Luke mentioned it yesterday too, kind of Brewers following a similar model to what the Braves have done over the years, with these kind of contracts. And it's worked for the Braves.
Yeah, I bet it has.
Yeah, it has worked for the Braves. So everybody wanted to see Jackson Chourio sooner rather than later. Well, I think you're probably going to see him on opening day now.
I would assume that contract would also call it he's a major league player. They're not going to put him in the minor leagues with that kind of money.
Yep.
My goodness, he goes to the minor leagues with that kind of money, and he's going to be like Michael Jordan. He'll buy the team new buses and everything else.
Right. No kidding. So, man, I hope it works out I really hope this works out. I mean, this sets the bar high too for this youngster.
No,
without even playing a single game in the majors, only 6 games in AAA. That bar is already high there, big guy.
Well, it's something the Brewers
pressure's on.
The Brewers are setting the bar high for themselves too, as far as what does this mean? Are you going to sign Burns or try to sign Burns? Drew Williams, are you going to try and sign him? Wade Miley has already said he's going to be a free agent, but there's no reason he can't come back to the Brewers. What kind of money are the Brewers willing to spend? I mean, this is $80 million on an unproven player. Mm-hmm. Let's face it.
Yep, exactly. Great in the minor leagues.
Yep.
Great, but we'll see.
Potential is one thing, reality is another.
I'm excited for him.
Oh,
I can't wait to see him, and I hope it transitions over there too. So, and maybe too, with the security and part, maybe once he gets to the major leagues, that makes him a little bit more comfortable at the major league level. Hey, I've got the security. I don't have to, play all the worldly to get a contract. Maybe I'm grasping at straws a little bit, but
yeah, he's going to be a star for the Brewers, or else they can't treat him like they did Keston Hiura, up and down and up and down and out of options and this, that, and the other thing. So it gives him security, and the Brewers kind of stuck their neck out on this.
Yeah,
there's no question about that. I think
to break the record by $30 million too.
Yeah, that's and for the Brewers to do it.
That
just shows you that they don't think they can go out in the free agent market and bring in some help. And this kid, they feel, is going to, I don't know what the kid's power numbers are, or if he can hit home runs, or if he's just an average hitter for average and can run. I don't know much about the kid because he hasn't played that much baseball, but we'll find out in a few months.
Yeah, he's got some pop to him. I'm just bringing up some of his. I think it's Kurt too on Twitter, who always tweets out when he's got a home run. But yeah, last year, 2023, 22 home runs, 91 RBIs, 44 stolen bases. I know you'd like that.
No bet I do. Move the ball. Yep. Move the players around.
OPS 805. He's a career, very young career, 47 home runs, 286 average, career 837 OPS, 191 RBIs.
And he's coming into a ballpark that's favorable for hitters. Yep. American Family Field is a good hitter's ballpark, so the kid should hopefully put up some pretty good numbers.
I mean, he has been. I'm just kind of breaking it down by his, where different levels, and he's been pretty darn consistent all across the board here too. So, because you always kind of wonder, like, okay, the more this moves up to the levels, kind of go down there a little bit, but yeah, he's. Off to, I think he's playing winter ball right now too, and he's still playing incredibly well down there, it sounds like. So
good.
But all right, get your Jackson Chourio jerseys, Brewers. They're
G-Man will be the first one in town to have a Chourio jersey.
Yep. I got to imagine they're going to probably be printing those off pretty soon here. I did kind of joke the other day, and I hope it's not true, but they drop this news, and then what happens later today? They trade Corbin Burns or something, PR sort of thing like that.
Boy, they better not trade Corbin Burns with Woodruff on the shelf. They better get what they can for him for at least the first part of the season, and then find out who's in the hunt. And, I just being realistic, I don't think there's any way they can sign Burns to a long-term contract. They're not going to put up that kind of money. Somebody is going to pay for Burns, and I hope the Brewers make them pay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still feel like Burns is going to start the season with the Brewers,
I do too.
and then they'll see how it goes, and then if it has to come to that point, trade deadline deal for Burnsy. So, all right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll finish up the second hour with a little receive or defer.
We'll take the ball.
We'll take. Geez, that one scared me, man. Why is my buttons not working? There, finally. All right, quick break, and we'll be back after these quick words. All right, time to finish up the second hour with a little receive or defer. I'll start off with you there, big boy.
All right, I mentioned this earlier when you brought up the game. The receiver defer. The Badgers will lose by at least 10 to Marquette on Saturday at the Kohl Center.
I'll play the odds and I say receive.
Yeah, the point you brought up earlier is going to be what I think is the difference here. If the Badgers can make 3-pointers, they're going to stay in the game. But if they miss and Marquette gets the lead and they've got to start shooting for making up points and they can't do it, Marquette's going to blow them out of the stadium. But if they can shoot well, they'll be in the game. But I just think they're going to lose to Marquette by 10. Receiver defer. Tiger Woods will not break par this weekend.
I know G-Man earlier mentioned Tiger Woods is playing today. It's the Hero World Challenge here too. He will not break par?
Will not break par this
for total?
Weekend. For total.
Okay. Defer.
You think he will break par?
Come on, T-Dub.
I don't know.
Do it, man.
I haven't seen him play, but I'm kind of skeptical.
I know he said the other day, he was asked, what's your goal for the year, for how many tournaments and such, and he would like to play a tournament a month.
Yeah.
Pros and Masters.
Yep.
May is the PGA. And then June is the Open.
US Open weekend.
And then July is the Open. So there's 4 months right there.
There
4 tournaments.
Yep, that's right.
But
so we'll see. But I hope he comes back. Let's face it, when he's playing well, golf is at a different level. Well, that's for sure.
It is, and it's still, he's not Tiger level, but it's still fun to watch him play.
Yeah,
I still enjoy it.
Yeah, so do I. Receiver defer. They should keep the transfer portal closed until after the bowl games.
I will receive that. I'll receive that. I like that.
Yeah, I think so too. I just think opening this thing up now, it just it's hard. Coaches don't know who they're going to lose. And how do you plan for a bowl game when you don't know what your roster is going to be? Now, obviously, this third-string quarterback isn't going to be a factor, but this lineman, I'm not sure who this lineman is or how much time he played, if at all. But this is just the start of it. By bowl time, who knows how many players from what team are going to opt out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'd like to see him closed until after the bowl games are all played.
Yeah, I like that. So
that's it for me.
That's it for you. I'll go back to the Badger basketball one. Receiver defer. Badgers will win at least one of these next 3 games.
I'll receive that.
Okay.
Because they always seem to step it up at least once when you're not expecting it.
Mm-hmm. So they'll either win between Marquette, Michigan State, or Arizona.
Yep.
In your opinion?
Yep.
Okay. I hope they come away with at least one.
So do I. They need that for their confidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I like the fact that they've scheduled a tough portion of the schedule early in the season. Michigan State does it.
Oh yeah.
And Michigan State's always seems like
they get tougher.
They get tougher. Their records may not reflect, just how good they are because of that tough schedule at the beginning, but then they always make a run in the tournament, it seems like. So
they always do.
Mm-hmm. So I like it. It may stink on their record for a little bit, but I think it'll benefit them later on, especially with these younger guys playing like Blackwell off the bench and AJ Storr in the starting lineup, who are probably their 2 best players right now, even though Steven Kroll's been playing a little bit better too. But no, I like it. So
yeah, I think they'll win one of them.
Mm-hmm. Let's go receive or defer at this point in time. Do you believe your green and gold will make the postseason?
No. No, there's some wonderful hype going on right now, but I just think some of those games they lost earlier, Denver, the Raiders, Atlanta, I think they're going to come back to bite them. I'm hoping they are. I'm rooting for them, but being realistic, I don't.
I'm going to receive it.
Okay, good for you.
Seattle's schedule is really tough for them. They've got San Fran again, Dallas, Philly in the next 3 weeks. I have no idea what to expect from Minnesota. And I just think that works in the favor. Green Bay holds a tiebreaker over the Rams. They hold a tiebreaker over the Saints. So I do think they get in.
Good.
I'll receive it.
I hope you're right.
And for anybody who doesn't want them and wants to hire a draft pick, stop it. Just stop it. Come on now.
I've never been one to do that either. I mean, you're paying these guys millions and millions of dollars. Perform, fellas. We're not asking just to go out there and be a placeholder for after our draft. Go out there and win now.
Mm-hmm. And I think it would just be incredibly beneficial if somehow this inexperienced team gets into the postseason. I think it would pay dividends down the road too. Like I look at that. I used this comparison the other day. The Eagles from a few years ago when they squeaked into the postseason as that last spot and they got waxed in the first round, dominated by Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
Next year they end up going to the Super Bowl, and look what they're doing again this year.
Oh yeah, no question.
I think that
about
experience is beneficial.
And I think I think we've got Rashad Gary, Kenny Clark. This Owens is he's come out of nowhere to be a pretty good player. He's tough.
Mm-hmm.
He's not afraid to tackle guys. And I don't know if Jair Alexander is ever going to come back and be competitive. I don't know how hurt he is, or if he's, if injuries, it's easy for injuries to get the best of him. He's got talent. I mean, there's no question he's got the talent, but does he have that inner desire to really be one of the best? That, those sorts of things. Jair Alexander, if he can come back and, because before he went out, the last game he played a really nice game. But now it's his back, and then it's his shoulder, and then it's this, and it's the other thing. And I don't know. Can you count on him? That's not the kind of guy that, and I don't know how serious these injuries are, but if he can't play, he's not any better to him than you or I.
Receive or defer, will there be at least one shakeup after this weekend's college football games in the college football playoff?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah?
I think so.
We've got Oregon versus Washington tomorrow night.
That's going to be a good game.
I think the winner of that probably gets the spot.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, and Washington's undefeated, but Oregon's favored.
Yep. Then we've got Oklahoma State at Texas. We've got Georgia at Alabama. Michigan, Iowa. Louisville at Florida State.
Which one in your mind would be the biggest upset?
Iowa.
I knew you were going to say so, and I.
And I kind of want it, to be honest with you. I know it's Iowa now, but I'm all about the chaos right now.
Yeah, so am I.
I just want the chaos.
Yeah,
so.
and Iowa can play defense, but
I believe Harbaugh's back on the sidelines for this.
He is,
yeah,
but against how good a team?
Mm-hmm.
Because the West and the Big Ten isn't like the East. They played Penn State, and Penn State pretty well took that defense apart. So is Michigan going to be able to do the same thing? Because let's face it, without their defense, they're Indiana.
Mm-hmm. If Alabama beats Georgia, do you put them in the top four?
Depending how the other games come out. If Iowa would beat Michigan, some of that, yes.
Because the other part in this too is like the one loss Alabama has on their record is Texas.
Yep, and Texas beat them at Alabama.
Yeah.
And so, Texas, there's no way I think they should jump Texas.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Because you got some people say, well, they beat the number one team, so they should jump over Texas and all that. And it's like, you can make cases for both sides, I think, at that.
You can, it's great barroom conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But no, just because they beat Georgia, I don't think they should be getting in.
No. And
depending on how the other games come out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And if they do, I think it's clearly evident it's the Alabama Nick Saban factor.
Absolutely.
If they jump that high.
Absolutely.
Getting in there too. And the thing is, I don't think they would drop Georgia out though either.
No, I don't think Georgia would go out either. They've won 29 games in a row or something like that. So.
Yeah. Even though Kirby Smart thinks they're getting overlooked.
Overlooked? The number one team in the country.
He said that a couple weeks ago on Pat McAfee's show. I was like, come on, dude. Geez Louise. How do you just whatever keeps you motivated, I guess. But yeah.
It's like Dabo Swinney down at Clemson a few years ago, and they were, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row where they were right there battling. We don't get the credit we deserve. Well, no, you're taking home the hardware. What kind of credit do you want? That's all I care about.
I think that's one of the most overdone phrases in all of sports. Travis Kelce did it after the Super Bowl. Nobody believed in us. Really? You were the
know,
number
I-
one seed in there
I
for
know.
crying out loud. I mean,
Nobody believed we could do it. I get sick of hearing those guys saying that too.
yeah, I'm just like, come on. You know, you probably saw one person tweet about it,
Yeah.
and you know,
And one of the Packers did that after the game, after the Detroit game. You know, nobody thinks we're any good or nobody believes in us or whatever. Well, you know,
facts are facts, and you haven't been good for the most part. So,
that's right.
yeah.
But no, when a team like Kansas City said, well, nobody believed in us. Well, you idiot. What-
Yeah.
that-
I actually
that's-
picked you guys to win, so
yeah,
you know.
And
It's,
Kirby Smart, the same thing. You've been number one in the country for 2 or 3 years. You haven't lost a game in 3
Yeah.
years. You know, how can you, what kind of credit do you want?
I totally agree. I totally agree. So, where else do we want to go here? I thought I had another one, but I receiver defer. I'll just end it on this one. Receiver defer. Would you give Jordan Love a contract extension by the end of the season, or heading into the offseason this year?
Yeah, but money would be a big factor in what I give him to.
Mhm.
I have no problem giving him a contract, but I'm sure I got to break the bank to do it.
Mhm.
Because that's what happened with Rodgers. He broke the bank when Rodgers got his big contract after he established himself, let's face it. But still, it hamstrung the team. You know, they don't want to make a mistake either on a player like Bakhtiari. You can't do that
Mhm.
because it just hamstrung this team for a long time. Still is.
And to be fair, you can't predict the injury
No,
circumstance over there. So that's a risk reward when it comes to general managers and building teams. So, but all right, we got only about a minute left. So next hour we'll get back to some more baseball talk. The Jackson Cheerio news: 8 years, $80 million, guaranteed 8 years too.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Two-
And good for the Brewers that they're, they're trying to improve. The pitching is a question mark right now. And, Woodruff's gone. Miley is, for all intents and purposes, is gone. Are they going to trade Drew Williams? Are they going to trade Corbin Burns during the course of this year? Who knows?
We got Sports Illustrated's Person of the Year. Might have to debate that one.
Sportsman of the Year?
Sports Person of the Year.
Oh boy, I haven't seen. I get Sports Illustrated, but I haven't seen that.
Yeah, they tweeted it out. I don't know if these are the real writers or the AI writers
Oh.
or anything like that picked this now. So
Okay.
that's the question. You heard about that story about Sports Illustrated, right?
No.
Oh, I'll tell you coming up after the break.
All right. We'll
I'll tell
look
you about
forward to that.
So. Third and final hour kicking off on this Thursday morning. What up, everybody? Hopefully you're all off to a fantastic start. Hit us up with a text. What you doing? What's on the agenda? 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Want to hear from you. All right. We're going to talk some more Brewers with the news of Jackson Cheerio on the verge of signing a massive contract with the Brewers before he even makes his major league debut. John Hyman reporting it's a 10-year deal, or excuse me, 8-year deal, $80 million, but it includes 2 team options, which essentially could make it a 10-year deal here. So for a guy who's played just 6 games above AA, hasn't made a major league debut before, your thoughts on the Brewers doing this? Maybe kind of sort of taking a page out of what the Atlanta Braves have done over the last few years here. But what are your thoughts? All right. What else are you doing this morning? What's on the plan? Where are you at? Let's do a little roll call. Hit me up with a text, tweet, or anything like that. All right. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. So, also we're going to talk a little. I might throw back a little bit more college football talk or some football talk in general. Packers still returned to practice yesterday to get set for their matchup with the Chiefs. We'll hit that up a little bit later on.
What's the spread on that game?
Let me bring it up here really quick before I tell you who the new SI Sports Person of the Year is. It is the spread according to this one's ESPN Bet, 6 in favor of Kansas City. It opened at 7, but right now it's at 6. So, touchdown.
Yeah,
Touchdown there.
Probably about right.
Your Sports Illustrated. So first of all, the story was there was a report that came out earlier this week at Sports Illustrated at SI.com. A lot of their articles, they created artificial intelligent writers. Pictures of these people too. A lot of their pieces were AI written, not by real people, but they were ghosting as real people. They even created fake images of these people too. So that was the AI reference I was telling you about. Now,
Kind of like a governor running an email named Warren Spahn.
yeah. So there's some people wondering if the AI writers made this pick for Sports Person of the Year. Your Sports Person of the Year, Deion Sanders.
Can't argue that. He's created a lot of attention. He brought a lot of attention to himself. As it turned out, it started out ball of fire, but kind of fizzled as the season went on. But it's a sports person of the year, sportsman of the year. I guess I can't argue that.
Yeah,
he got a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
Not the one I would have thought of.
Yeah, who else would you have put on there? I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm sure some people would probably put Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift as a combo now over there.
Yeah. Did you see at the Packer game? I was at the Packer game against the Chargers, and it was really, really funny. Or the Badger game. I'm sorry, the Badger game against second to last week. Who did they play? I don't remember, but Nebraska, when they played Nebraska, and on the big scoreboards at the Badger games, when the Badgers did something well, scored a touchdown, and you had the video of Taylor Swift in the box at Kansas City. She's wearing red and everything else, hooting and hollering and yelling and jumping up and down. It was really well done.
Yeah,
but she's made an impact on.
Well, I mean, they're all talking about whether she's going to be in Green Bay Sunday night or not in a box. And
I'll be there, so they don't need her.
Yeah. Well, now it's like Simone Biles versus Taylor Swift. They're even turning that into a thing too. So it's like, geez Louise.
Have Simone Biles do a few gymnastics off the goalpost.
Hey, if her husband Owens plays like he did Thanksgiving, do whatever you got to do to keep him playing like that.
Yeah, he played a great game.
Yep. So, it's one of these, like when you try to think of another person, I'm drawing a blank right now, and I'm sure there's probably other people out there that could have, but I'm really I'm drawing a blank right now off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I am too, because you think of baseball and who won the World Series? Was there somebody there that should have gotten the recognition, or football in the Super Bowl?
What about Jokic, Denver Nuggets, NBA Finals for Denver?
Yeah, I think he's very deserving because he's a player. He really makes a difference. He can do so many things and he does it so well. Yeah, I agree. He could have been really in the running for that, no question about it.
Now, because the Deion luster, there's a lot of people questioning. There's a lot of kids decommitting from Colorado.
I heard that.
There's a lot.
I heard that Deion may be the next one to decommit to someplace else to coach.
I don't know about that, but yeah, there's a lot of kids like, nope, not going there, or leaving too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that means anything, but I don't know. But
he sure shook up the football world this last year with all of letting that whole roster go and bringing in all new players. And boy, he started out like a house of fire, but then you saw TCU. They weren't very good this year anyway, and they beat them the first game of the year, and everything. Oh my goodness, they beat TCU, and where are they going to end up? Well, TCU ended up towards the bottom, and Colorado wasn't far behind.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So, yes, Kyle, we've mentioned this stat numerous times. The Love and Rodgers, same exact passing yards and touchdowns in record, the first 11 starts. We mentioned that quite a bit this week. So,
yeah, what a big deal.
What do you mean big deal?
I look at the football, the team's record. I think he's got 5-6, 5-6. I think that's a nice record.
I will say
where I expected him to be.
I will say that I do, when I look at that stuff, and you can look at quarterback ratings. There was one that we were highlighting Monday that compared all the quarterback ratings and touchdown to interception differentials, and Love was a little bit better actually by one, I think, touchdown interception differential to Rodgers. The one nugget I would put on there too is that Rodgers at least had a couple veteran receivers he was throwing to in his first year. You had Driver, Jennings was in there for a few years, James Jones was in his second year, Nelson was a rookie that year, whereas Love's got all second and rookie receivers this year.
There's no question. The receivers up until the last few games didn't help him a bit earlier in the season, just dropping balls but now the kid from Michigan State, Reed, is that his name?
Jaden Reed,
he's really going to be a wonderful receiver. Dobbs is good. Christian Watson seems to be waking up. Tight end is still a real thorn in the side of the.
I like Luke Musgrave.
I like him, but he's not playing.
Well, he's got a lacerated kidney.
I know it. That's what I mean. They don't have a tight end right now.
Well, so it's a good opportunity for the other rookie, Tucker Kraft, to get some snaps in and log some experience.
I hope so. But look at what damage Travis Kelce and I
remember Kelce was nothing his rookie year.
No, I know it, but I'm saying now you got it. Kansas City is good because obviously of Mahomes. But let's face it, Travis Kelce makes a big difference in there. Teams that have good, strong tight ends do very, very well. No, I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just saying that we don't have a tight end right now that's a difference maker.
Not yet, but maybe, hopefully.
But that helps. I'm saying that would help Love too, because you have that. Because how many times has Travis Kelce been that safety valve for Patrick Mahomes? And we don't have yet that tight end that can do that to help Love this year. And I think if he had that tight end that all of a sudden shows up out of nowhere in the middle wide open, throw the ball to him like Kelce does, that makes a difference.
I think Musgrave's going to be that guy.
I hope
really
so.
do.
I hope so.
I think
how in the world
is.
did you get a lacerated kidney or liver?
Took that hit. Or fell or something like that off that. He had that big hit. It was a Chargers game.
Yeah.
And he still continued to play.
Yeah.
With it too. I remember the picture when he was going to the sidelines. You could tell he was like, almost looked like the wind got knocked out of him or something like that. And then he didn't go to the hospital until the next day.
Can you imagine the pain every time you breathe or something like that?
Yeah.
So
he mentioned it to a trainer the next day, and the trainer said, "You need to go to the hospital," and it ended up being lacerated kidney.
Yeah.
Over there. So.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying anything against Musgrave. I'm just saying I just wish we had a tight end right now.
Well, we got one.
Yeah.
He could be good. You don't know. He's a rookie yet.
I say he could be good. I wish we had him right now to help Love. I think Love's numbers would be better, and I think the team would be better with a tight end that would be, more dependable, for lack of a better word, or more in play, so to speak?
It's a growth year, intern. Come on.
I know it's a growth
man.
year. That's what I'm saying. But I wish we were through that growth year and they were there contributing more. I'm not saying they won't in the future. I'm saying right now they're not.
Mm.
You know, because I think that would make Love's emergence even better.
There's always next year.
Yeah, there is. But as long as they're kind of on a run, you say they're going to make the playoffs.
I do.
And I think
they're going to get waxed in the first round.
Well, you
they're
never
going to
know.
get dominated because they'll have to play 49ers or Philly. So
yeah. Well,
there you go. But hey, I want them to
who's
go
better,
to
the
postseason.
49ers or Philly?
I mean, I'd have to go Philly right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Chase Young's going to make a difference for this.
Oh yeah, Philly's got issues too, but I can't overlook the fact that their last 3 weeks they've beaten Buffalo, Dallas, and they had Miami, and who was the other one that they just beat too? Kansas City. I mean, they've faced tough teams and they've beat them.
That offensive line is good.
Mm-hmm. Yep, with another Kelsey up there.
Yep. Although he made a couple penalties in this last game that were almost game loss causing, but they came out of it.
I like Baltimore. I think Baltimore is the top team right now, though. That's who I'm rolling with.
Yeah, they're
a little bit more of a complete.
Yeah, they're under their radar, but they're playing good football.
To me, they're a little bit more of a complete team right now, but doesn't mean they'll be the best one when it's all said and done.
No, it'll be interesting playoffs.
I can't wait for that AFC playoffs.
Yep.
Baltimore, Kansas City, Miami, Jacksonville's up there with the same record too. Who the heck knows if Buffalo's even going to make it this year?
Well,
Cincinnati's out of it now.
Yeah,
but
Cincinnati without Burrow, he's gone.
Yep.
Cleveland, they have a good defense, but no offense.
No, the division leaders in this thing, I think, are going to be. You can almost make a case for each one of these division leaders. Kansas City, except for maybe the AFC South. Kansas City, Jacksonville, Baltimore, and then who was the other one I just said? Oh, Miami.
Yeah. But that's the AFC South, and Miami and Jacksonville aren't bad.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, AFC South, Jacksonville. I was thinking Tennessee and the Colts. So yeah, that is all division winners. I knew what I'm talking about there. But NFC, I still think it's a 2-team race.
Oh, I do too.
Philly and the 49ers. Dak Prescott is playing well. I got to give him credit, and the Cowboys and that. I don't know if they are. Do they have enough to beat the cream of the crop, the top teams right now? I mean, they're going to get another shot at Philly coming up here. They've got Seattle tonight, but I don't know. I don't know if I can trust Dallas right now, and they were my Super Bowl pick this year to go to the Super Bowl. I didn't have them winning it, but
Dallas was your pick?
Mm-hmm. I didn't want to go chalk like everybody. I wanted to be different. Everybody either had the San Francisco or Philly, and it's playing out like that, but I wanted to be different. So I went a little different route.
Well, and Dak Prescott obviously not going to be in the Hall of Fame, but could he have that 1 year like
Joe Flacco?
Yeah, like Flacco, or the guy that came in for Carson Wentz at Philadelphia and won
Nick
the Super Bowl.
Foles.
Nick Foles. Could he be that 1 year Super Bowl quarterback? I don't know.
Mike McCarthy's a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah, it would make him a Hall of Fame coach with two of them.
Be close.
Yep.
It would be really close. So, all right, I know you got to get going here in 10 minutes. So before that, though, we got a little bit more about Jackson Churio and his potential new contract coming out here. What does this say? Oh, okay. Never mind. This said NL Central's on fire. John Hyman, this is where the bulk of the action is so far. Despite having the two smallest markets in baseball, Brewers with Churio deal, and then, of course, Cubs with Counsell and that. But we got a little bit more info on this potential contract extension.
And the Cardinals signed Sonny Gray, too.
Yeah, and then Lance Lynn's back there, too. So they've got they're building a veteran starting staff over there.
Lance Lynn, I don't think, is going to win the he's not going to win the Cy Young Award.
Kurt Hogg, who covers the Brewers for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, he's been in on this, too. He had mentioned just a little bit ago, getting an 8+2 structure. That means the 8 years plus the 2 years of team options. So essentially, it's like almost a 10-year deal for Jackson Churio. He said it has been a critical piece from the Brewer side of negotiations. 8 years guaranteed, could buy out just 1 or 2 years of free agency, depending on when Churio gets called up in 2024. The club options add key years to that total. Cheerio flew stateside earlier in the week in anticipation of signing a deal, with the sides working between the 80 to 90 million guaranteed money range, as well as the options. He will become the highest paid player ever without any prior service time by a wide margin. And as Kurt notes, the question will shift to the rest of the outfield. The Brewers have shown in the past that, quote, too many cooks. The too many cooks theory isn't usually actually a thing in baseball, but now with the commitment to Cheerio, plus 3 under 25 former top prospects, and then Yelich, it's mega crowded right now. So really,
Could Yelich go to first base?
I know Brandon mentioned that a couple weeks ago, that there is that possibility that he could go over to first base. I know you got the DH thing in here now too, but
that's true.
I do wonder if that would be something in play.
Yeah, you don't know that the new manager is thinking or how he might realign the players, the roster. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it thought to me, as you were mentioning, these young kids now available for the outfield, Yelich can still play a good left field. There's no question about that. But would he be more value to the team coming into first base and getting a more reliable bat there? Not a lot of power anymore, unfortunately, but it's an option I'm sure they're looking at.
So yeah, this is almost like pretty much a 10-year deal now too. If when you think about the team option part on there too.
Yep.
More from the Athletic here. This is from a couple days ago. Ken Rosenthal just said they're getting close, but that was about an hour ago. So, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I wonder when some more of these are gonna land free agents and where they're gonna land. Of course, probably nothing will get done until Ohtani signs. And he'll set the market.
That and Bellinger, those two guys there. Yeah. The Ohtani one is going to be weird because of the pitching issue.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll pay him for both or pay him as a hitter. Is it going to be 300? Is it going to be 600? Who knows? Clayton Kershaw, he's probably going to be leaving the Dodgers. They say he wants to go to Texas, pitch for the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
That's his home, Dallas. Some of these other guys, I don't know where they're going to land, but it'll be interesting to follow them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, Adam McCulvey from Brewers.com can confirm. John's reporting that the Brewers and Cheerio have settled on 8 guaranteed years plus 2 club options as the structure of what will be a record-setting contract. The sides will need to finalize money and get Cheerio to Milwaukee for a physical, but this is coming from the Brewers writer for Brewers.com. So
I'm surprised that the extra 2 years are at the club's option, because if I'm Cheerio, if I'm turning into a superstar and I'm going to be 26 or 27 years old after 8 years, and I'm under this $1 million contract versus maybe I could sign for $200 million, I'd have $150 million or whatever. I'm surprised that they went along with the club option for 2 years.
Trying to see when. Oh, okay. I was just trying to see because he'd be 29. If they go the full 10 years, then he'd be 29 as a free agent there.
Which is still young or not, mature, let's put it.
Right. Yeah, I was trying to you got the Albert Pujols example of how old he was when he got that mega deal from the Angels after Cardinals and that. But I don't know. He's going with stability there. No doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
So
no,
I just hope I hope we're talking about how the Brewers got a bargain in a few years.
Oh, I do too.
That's my now question. I hope that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, because I don't think a lot of us are saying we got a bargain with Christian Yelich. I mean, he gave us some good years, MVP years, but I think we all thought that it would be extended. Those kind of years would be extended farther and farther out, and they just haven't been.
You make the Christian Yelich reference, so this is a question that I want to ask now. Would you be now? I don't know if this is going to be the new philosophy of the Brewers going forward, kind of similar to a Braves thing. Would you rather, or are you open to the Brewers doing deals like this? So say like Sal Frelick plays this upcoming year and he has a great year. And the Brewers say, you know what? We're going to do the same thing with Sal Frelick. We're going to lock him up 8 years, $120 million, whatever it is. It's a lot of money right now for a guy, but it could pay off. The Braves did that with like Ronald Acuna Jr. I would say the Braves won that one so far. Are you okay with that mindset of paying a lot of money early for guys early in their careers, even though you don't know who they're going to be? Or the more established, like Christian Yelich was a little bit more established. You paid him a lot, but right now maybe the injuries and the age is kind of coming up to him a little bit.
Well, the dollars are different. You know,
Mhm.
you're getting, this $80 million for 10 years or 8 years, whatever. That's a pretty good deal compared to you signed Yelich after he had a great year or year and a half, whatever, with the Brewers. And same thing now with Frelick. I wouldn't be opposed, because you're not talking voluminous amounts of money. You're talking a big contract, and the kid's
Well,
going
for
to be.
Mark, it might be a luminous amounts of money.
Well, I mean,
Mark
yeah,
Atanasio.
that's what I mean. Yeah, well, for him it is. But
Yeah.
I mean, you look at these guys are assigned. Moustakas, $22 million a year. I'd rather have Frelick at 10 than Moustakas at 22.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, the money is different, but I think it's much more efficient use of the money signing these kind of contracts.
So I guess what I'm asking is, are you good with the Brewers maybe doing more riskier with higher reward type of deals instead of maybe being perceived safer deals but cost more money?
Yep.
Does that make sense?
And I think you got to do it by market size.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Angels, Padres, Red Sox, even the Cubs, I think they can, because I don't know what their, contract offers are going to be to Bellinger and some of these other guys, but it's going to be big numbers. But if you get a kid that comes in like Frelick and like Churio, and they put up really nice numbers, you got to feel good about the money you're paying them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making a lot of money. They're still making a lot of money. They're not breaking the bank. I mean, every time a guy like Yelich gets hurt and he's gone for 2 weeks or he's on the IR, you think, well, it's money down a rat hole, because it's a lot of money. And these guys are human. They're going to get hurt. It's just part of the nature of the human beast when you play a game like that at that level. And I'd feel more comfortable with some of these other contracts than I would by, well, let's wait 3 or 4 years, see how good he gets. Same thing with Love for the Packers. Are you confident that this is going to be your guy? If you are, get him locked up. Make him comfortable, but lock him up, but don't break the bank, which these guys are doing.
It's put it maybe in kind of a comparison this way. Freddie Peralta plus Jackson Churio and let's say Sal Frelick, just an example, say he's going to get a similar contract next year, whatever. Just throwing out a name. Those 3 guys could potentially cost the same amount as one Corbin Burns. But when would you rather have? The 3 or the 1?
3.
Yeah. Because Freddie Peralta's contract, when he signed it, was 5 years, $15.5 million.
Yeah. And
I think he's outpitched that.
Yeah. And Burns, I don't want to take anything away from Burns, but is he your horse? I mean, when we got into the playoffs against Arizona, and he's shown that before in big games, he got against Arizona and they lit him up. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Is he going to be your number 1, or could he go to a team like the Yankees or the Dodgers or someplace and be the number 2 or number 3, where he's off the radar sort of more than he is in Milwaukee, because he's looked at as the opening day starter. You get in the playoffs, he's going to pitch your first game in the playoffs and this, that, and the other thing. And is he up to that? He's a great pitcher.
Cy Young award-winning pitcher.
Yeah, but he is. Great pitcher. Take nothing away from him. But is he the guy you want on the mound in that big game? I don't know. I'd like to have versus a lot of other guys, no question about it. But, he was kind of disappointing. He had a good year, but he was kind of disappointing in some of the big games.
The other part, too, with this Freddie Peralta one I'm looking at, he's also got the 2 club options at the back end of his contract all the way to 2026. Only $8 million options.
Yeah, that's a bargain.
That's a team win there, too.
And that's what I say. I'd rather sign those kind of contracts. Give them maybe more money up front when they're still unproven. But if they do prove out, you've made a good deal. And they're living well. I mean, you get $8 million. You can't live in Milwaukee with $8 million. You got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And you're putting money away for your future generations and everything else.
I'm open to this, and I kind of like the idea that, again, I don't know if this is going to be the change of direction going forward of how they're going to do deals now. Because a lot of fans have complained about the lack of spending for free agents. But if this is the way they're going to go about it, maybe kind of really focusing on, okay, we're going to invest in younger talent. We may be taking a risk here, but if it potentially can pay off where we're getting by cheaper, I'm open to trying something new instead of always like rental players, right? It's where we're getting into these rental players, veteran rental players that we're hoping will go out there and just like the Jesse Winkers that never worked out and stuff like that. I think you got to change it up a little bit.
Oh, I agree with you. I mean, you have to be creative when you're in a small market. You're in New York or Los Angeles, money just flows in. It just grows on trees, literally almost. But when you're in a smaller market, you have to be creative. You have to do your due diligence scouting these players. And, they wouldn't be giving Cheerio this much money if they hadn't done their background work on him.
And if they weren't confident in him.
Exactly.
Because like you said, they could wait a couple of years.
Yeah. And then his $8 million a year or 10 million, whatever it would be, all of a sudden goes up to 20, 22, 23 million. Well, there's another player that, a good player that you could sign. So if they do the same thing with Frelick, I have no problem with that. I just think they have to be creative. And Mark Adanasio isn't going to go out there and he's not going to be in the running for Ohtani.
Right.
I mean, don't even consider such a thing.
Yep.
I don't even know if the Cubs will be in the running for Ohtani.
Apparently that's their number one target.
Well, if it is, good luck for him.
Yeah.
Because what is that going to do with guys like Bellinger? Where's he going to end up?
New York, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's one of the downsides to those kind of contracts for a team. For the player, it's wonderful. But for the team, who are you going to surround him with? You're going to surround him with $5, $6, $8 million a year players, which I'd love to have one of those contracts, but they're not difference makers. They're not going to help him. I mean, he had Mike Trout in LA.
Yeah.
They didn't.
It was so frustrating how those Angels teams never made the postseason with
never.
that.
I know it.
It's just like, what a waste.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. All right. I know you got to get going here, big boy.
Got another meeting I got to get to.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more coming up after these few words. Hey, just a quick reminder: we got that new Facebook group we created yesterday or the other day here. So looking for you to join up so you can so we can keep the conversation going after we get off the air. We've got some good ones going on over there right now. So big thanks to all of you who have joined it. If you want that link, I'll even help you out. I'll text it to you. Just shoot me a text and I can send it to you. But it's just a way for all of us listeners get together, still continue our conversation, have a little back and forth, chit chat and such. For you to post questions, for you to post topic ideas and that. So if you want that link, let me know. I'll text it to you. Otherwise, post it up on the Facebook page over there too. But big thanks to everybody who's already been chiming in. You're giving me some ideas for some segments and podcast topics coming up here too. So, and if you are part of that group, big thanks. Don't be afraid to invite others to join up over there too. So, it is a private group, so you got to be approved once you well, I guess asked to join over there too. So, all right, we'll keep you posted in case any more Jackson Cheerio updates come through here. But I'll be excited, be interested to talk to our good buddy Brandon Burke tomorrow on it to see to see his thoughts and his reaction from that. But we'll talk to Brandon tomorrow with that. First hour, we were talking a little bit about. Okay, I got a few of you. I'll get you those texts, people. I'll get you here in a second. Keep these texts coming, though, baby. First out, we were talking a little bit about Jordan Love. And since like the topic of the day seems to be contract extensions, would you be good if the Packers gave Jordan Love a contract extension? Now there could be a thing when he signed that extension. I actually think there is. Don't quote me on that. I think there's a little bit of something in there. Thought I saw that the other day. But let's just, for argument's sake, say they can give him an extension right now or early in the offseason. Would you be good if the Packers gave him that extension, knowing that it's probably, let's be realistic here, it's probably going to be, $40 million a year, maybe even a little bit more. That's now, whether you say, well, he's not worth that or that's not the market. The thing is again, it's what the market dictates. It's what teams are willing to pay. Contracts don't necessarily tell you who the best player is all the time. They necessarily don't always dictate that. But would you be good if Green Bay got it done now? And maybe kind of like thinking, hey, if we try to get this done now, maybe save a little bit of money if he continues to play a little bit better. Kind of like what we were just talking about with the Brewers and Jackson Cheerio and such. For comparison, just a little bit here. I know it's a little bit different because Jordan Love signed that, extension at the beginning of the year to avoid the fifth-year option. Aaron Rodgers, his first year, he signed that 5-year extension on Halloween, end of October. And that's when they locked it in. He got the big deal, was it 2014? A few years after that. I think it was actually a little bit before that. Might have been 13, 12. It was 12. Anyways. But would you, and for a lot of it, majority, I would probably say like 90, 95% of you that texted in said, yeah. Had a couple saying, no, not yet. But I was actually surprised at the majority of you saying, yes, you would. And for me, it wouldn't shock me if they did. And now if they're able to, it wouldn't shock me at this point if they decided to give him an extension and lock that down. Cap is going to open up a lot more money next year. Salary cap's going to rise next year. I think the one, if you want to call it bummer downfall in this whole thing would be like, they never really had the opportunity maybe to take advantage of having a cheaper quarterback in terms of cap hits, right? We talk about taking advantage of quarterbacks on maybe on a rookie contract and smaller cap hits and then building around them. Green Bay won't really have that advantage because Jordan sat for a few years and such. But you got these other guys, maybe these rookie wide receivers, tight ends, some of these younger dudes kind of stepping up and maybe being able to contribute at a more consistent rate in the next couple of years and kind of making up for that because They probably won't be getting big time contracts yet for a few more years. So I wouldn't be surprised, and I necessarily wouldn't be. I wouldn't be like banging the table like, why would you do this? How could you do this? Why would you give him a contract right now? I don't think it'll come at the end of this year. Again, I'd have to look at it. I was trying to look it up a little bit earlier, and I saw some stuff where he's not quite eligible yet, it seems like. Again, don't quote me on this, but I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't in the next probably off season. So, but yeah, a lot of you in that first hour when we did it, probably 95% of you, 95% of you saying yes, absolutely, go do it. We had a lot of you sending me the comparisons of these stats from him and Aaron in the first year, or even, and I know it's something we talked about earlier in the week, with the yards are the same, the records the same, touchdown to interception ratio better for Love, quarterback rating Aaron was a little bit better. I mean, it's all over the place, and we can nitpick all that we want to, but I was surprised. 90, yeah, big chunk of you. A couple of you know, but I'm still surprised it was that much. That much. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back to finish up program, cover some bases, all that good stuff. Bucks back in action tonight. Can they pick up their 15th win of the season? We'll talk about it. Looking for that perfect gift or stocking stuffer for someone special in your life? Well, it sounds like you need to make a stop at Cabin Coffee in Altoona. Whether you're looking for a gift card to put in someone's stocking or grabbing a bag of their freshly roasted coffee, Cabin Coffee has something for that coffee-loving person in your life. Plus, they have those mugs and sweet apparel over there too. Along with the holidays, the temperatures are also dropping, so head on over to Cabin Coffee and grab yourself a warm beverage this season. Cabin Coffee is located in the River Perry area at 2922 Meadowlark Lane in Altoona. Bucks are back in action tonight, taking on the Chicago Bulls. 6:30 tip time, although, well, we know that it's probably going to be a little bit after that. Those basketball games never start on time. But you could catch that game on the radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Have that radio dial turned on while maybe you're watching a little Badger volleyball action. The women's volleyball team will begin their NCAA tournament run tonight against Jackson State. That is slated to start around 7:30 tonight. 7:30 tonight. So Badgers definitely one of the favorites to make a deep run and maybe even win national championship again. So they potentially could face Nebraska. Nebraska's on the other side of that bracket for the national championship. If you're kind of looking at that over there. So what else we got on the docket here? I got a weird message on Twitter asking. I heard a message about a realtor on your show. Can you tell me who that is? I'm in the market. Yeah, I'll go back and find it. I got you. I'll look back at that commercial for realtor. You said, okay, yeah. Realtor, same thing. All right, I got you. I got you, Twitter or X or whatever. So I'll get back to you on that. Thank you to everybody who also sent in your messages for Jake. Jake was not able to make it in this week, so we'll catch up with him a little bit later on down the road here in a couple weeks for our outdoor tidbits. But I know muzzleloader season's going on right now too, so don't forget if you are having any luck or you did have luck from the hunting season there, let us know. Email it to me, and we'll put your pictures up on the Tilden Gun trophy board. We'll put them up on the Tilden Gun trophy board over there. You can check out all the pictures all the time by going to sportstalk1051.com and clicking on that outdoors tab over there. So I know the numbers were down this year. The DNR report finally came out the other day and such, but I'll be curious to see like maybe muzzleloader numbers. Be kind of curious on that. I don't know. Jackson Cheerio, a lot of you chime in about that you like that the Brewers are kind of changing their philosophy, maybe changing a little bit in how they do business. Seems like a lot of you are kind of giving thumbs up to the what's probably going to happen here. The new deal for Jackson Cheerio, 8 years plus 2 years of team options there for about $80 million. A couple of you kind of saying the same thing, saying that the Brewers had to change up how they do business and building roster construction. Might as well try this and see what happens. And as some of you noted too, a little bit similar to how the Atlanta Braves go about doing business over there. So we'll see if it's officially announced later on today or not. But John Hyman reported it. It was confirmed by Adam McCulvey, who writes for Brewers.com. So it's going to happen. When it's going to be official or not, we'll see. But it probably be here in the next couple days ahead of winter meetings. So I have to imagine maybe the Brewers wanted to get this done before winter meetings start next week. Winter meetings, the infamous time when that hot stove season really kind of kicks off for baseball, but trades go down at these things, signings go down. You have GMs meeting with agents, other GMs meeting with other GMs, and maybe working out some trades. Could that be a week? Maybe the Brewers move on from one of their outfielders to make room for a Jackson Cheerio. Could they actually move on from Corbin Burns? Will next week be the week they do that at these meetings? Somebody else like Willie Adames, could he be on the move? And then the Brewers kind of putting the Brewers to kind of put on, or what was I going to say? The Brewers moving on from Willie Adames and put Terang over there at shortstop. So, yeah, could be a lot of different options out there. A lot of different options for the Brewers next week. So, but we'll see. We'll keep you posted on any of that. Tomorrow, we'll catch up with Brandon Berg, our sports editor from the Chippewa Herald. We'll get his thoughts on the Jackson Cheerio stuff. Also, prep action. I know wrestling's going to be getting going here. We got hoops that's going on, hockey, all the winter sports. So we'll catch up with our good buddy Brandon tomorrow. Dr. Crow from Inside the Training Room will also join us next week, tomorrow. We'll catch up on some of the injuries with him. I'm sure we'll hit on the Aaron Rodgers Achilles thing too. But last time we talked to him, was it last week, early part of last week, or maybe before that? He hit the Joe Burrow one when we were talking about Joe Burrow's injury. He hit that one on the head too. So, and I know Dr. Crow, he got a nice deer during hunting season too when I told him not to, but he did. Man got her done again. So we'll catch up with Dr. Crow and talk about the latest injuries surrounding the sports world out there too. Plus, we'll get some picks in. Don't forget to get your picks in for our Pro Football Pick'em Challenge because we got a game tonight and we got a shakeup in the leaderboard. Our new leader, Garrett Jacobson, sitting up there, sole possession of first place now. So a little bit of a change in the or I should say a little shuffling of that leaderboard there. Tim's in second, down by just one. You got Darren over there in third. He's just two back. So don't forget to get your picks in. Got a game tonight. Cowboys taking on the Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks taking on the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. So I got Dallas in this one. I'm going to roll with Dallas in this one, which is good for Green Bay. If you're a Packers fan, you still want the Packers to get to the postseason. You want Seattle to lose. You need Seattle to lose. Get them down there a little bit, right? Knock them down a peg. So you need McCarthy to help you out a little bit. But we'll make the rest of the picks tomorrow, plus all of our college football picks for the conference championships. We'll hit those up with Brandon tomorrow too. Yesterday, Packers practice report might be kind of worth watching today to see who's going to be out there, because yesterday there was just three players who were not doing something, or at least wasn't listed as a limited participant. That was Aaron Jones, that was A.J. Dillon, and Jaden Reed. Three guys who were DNPs. Jair was listed as a limited, although some of the writers there at first thought he wasn't doing anything, and they had to get that clarified from Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur saying he was listed as a limited. You're hoping there wasn't a setback or anything like that. But I think today is going to be a good indicator of where, maybe like A.J. Dillon. It doesn't seem like there's too much concern about his availability for Sunday night. They're just kind of giving him some extra rest because of that groin injury, and plus with no Aaron Jones. Want to make sure that he's healthy and that he's ready to go. But today and tomorrow will be the big days to really see the possibility of like maybe a Jair playing, or maybe, Jaden Reed too. You want to pay attention to that one. Hopefully it's nothing, because he's such a unique chess piece that they're finally the last couple weeks figuring out ways to get him going and to get him really involved in these games. So hopefully he'll be able to go on Sunday, because I think that would be a big loss for the offense. But we'll know a little bit more after today's practice and seeing who's out there and who's able to do anything or not. But kind of I know we'll talk more Packers and Chiefs tomorrow and break that down. Keys to victory, key matchups. You can think about those for a little bit and hit me up with what you think are going to be keys to victory or some of your key matchups. But kind of a whirlwind tour. I mean, remember, this is Jordan Love's. He's the second time going up against the Chiefs. His first career start was against the Chiefs. And if you remember, a lot of people didn't think he was like awful, but it felt like he was being really held back. And the coaches confirmed that they held him back, and Matt LaFleur said he didn't do enough to help him out with the zero blitz from Steve Spagnuolo. I'll be kind of curious to see what the defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, is going to do this time around going up against Jordan Love. I don't know if it'll all be zero blitz again like it was in their first meeting from a couple years ago. But that Chiefs defense has been playing incredibly well this year. And I think Chris Jones playing on that defensive line, he is going to be a big factor in this game, and has definitely got to be a key matchup that the Packers have to slow down. Don't let Chris Jones be wrecking that offensive line, constantly getting in the backfield, stuffing runs. That's going to be a key matchup right there, is how do they kind of, neutralize him a little bit. But we'll break that down more tomorrow. DP and the Danettes are up next. You have yourself a fantastic Thursday. We'll wrap up the week tomorrow morning, just past 6. Talk to you then.